Alright, so I guess I should probably note that this is going to be sort of after recording. And I would preferably not want to be doing this, but I figured that I don't usually do these sort of after recordings, but I decided that I should for my RimWorld series, both because of the fact that it seems like, when I'm playing like permanent def, I have issues I can't go back and reload a save and then redo the recording. If I basically foul up with the sound or the video or something like that, the sound in the video, basically you don't get to you get a sound video, and you're probably not too interested in that type of thing. But I figured that I just go back, I basically record this again, and we just see how it goes. So at this point in my run with RimWorld, I'm essentially just starting to get over the coldness of the winter. We're starting to get back into spring. I have a trader up here who I bought some pemmican from the previous episode in. And life is fairly good. I'm looking what am I going to start doing now that it's basically thawed out, and I start building a wall right here on the west side of my base. And then I start doing this throughout my sort of let's plays for the next little while. I basically start building up the fences. I probably should have focused a little bit more to the south of this position, but you'll get to see that a little bit later on. Basically, I have advanced knowledge of what's going to happen in this game, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So basically, I start building up walls. I'm being a little bit I guess autistic here, and I'm making it so it's perfect. I really don't have to make it so the walls and the doors are so perfectly spaced apart. But whatever, I just did right there. Now we have this sort of Muffalo madness happen for a moment. Now something that can happen is that you can have a psychic wave that basically sweeps over the landscape, and then it causes animals to become maddened. And basically what happens is four Muffalos, one from the south pack down here and a three from the above one, basically go mad and decide I'm going to attack Davian's colony, and that's basically what they do. And basically I'm just going here, I'm looking at them, and basically you can see there's a couple they're some Muffalo are not affected or anything, but some are mad and they're going to attack Vladina, who's basically the first primary target they can reach. Now, how I basically have my fort, they have to come over to the southwest part of my base. So I basically start gathering my guys, and initially I'm going to gather them up by the traders, but then I decide that it probably wouldn't be a good idea to be near the traders, because what happens if the traders get killed? So I decided to move my guys a little bit south of them, so that they can basically avoid any issues. And the Muffalo, of course, they start charging toward me, so that's going to be an issue to deal with, but whatever. So here we go, we're going to grab them, we're going to bring them all south to basically defend. As you can see, the Muffalo are making their way around, so I decide where I'm going to place these guys to get the best amount of attacking and all that. I decided to a little bit down south, a little bit north of the geothermal event, not really that far off. As you can see, I start positioning my guys and I start sorting them. So of course now he's in front, I'm in front. People who have weapons are in back. And so it begins. So we start. Vladina starts taking pot shots, while the other guys with the pistol and the shotgun, they start taking shots. We take out the first Muffalo easily enough. Start doing after the second one. It gets up close, but it gets pummeled by a Cornerstone Vector pretty quickly. Then we have this other Muffalo coming around to the side. I basically have my guys start melee attacking that are basically a little bit too far away with the weapons, because I don't want them automatically shoot my guys in the back. So everyone starts melee attacking that one. It dies. There's still one Muffalo left to basically kill, so basically gather up my guys, for a fortification. Not very well, basically, because basically all my guys are bunched up after the last Muffalo, so it's a little bit hard to reorganize them real quick. All right, there we go. Basically, I have my guys set up. We start shooting at the damn Muffalo as it comes close. It dies. And everyone gets undrafted because we're done. I'm a little bit injured, but I'm just a little bit bruised up. Vector's a little bit injured. He's just a little bit bruised up. We're all pretty good though. So more or less at this point, it's just about hauling the bodies of the Muffalo over to get some extra meat. And that'll be good because it'll help my foodstuffs. Because, winter was kind of hard on my foodstuffs. I used up all my processed food. Or I guess packaged survival meals is what they were. So we start doing that. Faulkner and Aiko just go to immediately butcher those two ones there. Myself and Vector, we go head toward the hospital beds because, we have to get ourselves healed up. But of course, we go out, eat this pemmican that's like on the ground here first. Traders never have a thing happen to them. So it's just sort of like, a slow bit of like, waiting a little bit here. Meat's getting scattered around. Something I know about like, bigger animals like the Muffalo, they have lots more meat on them, so they're basically like, great for like, getting lots of like, food from if you kill them. And yeah, me and Vector are basically in hospital beds here. It's a little bit loud, but whatever. Hopefully you guys can't hear the background noise. So at this point, I'm in bed, but Corner Knight goes to basically start building the wall. Things are looking pretty good. Now, something I think at this point, I start to note that I really should be like in like battles. Like basically, my character DFuxa, he's like the only doctor we have, and I probably make a note at this point that he probably shouldn't be fighting at all. Because like I'm not like the greatest at combat, and I've got the medical skills, so it makes no sense for me to be on the front line. So I'll be fixing that in the future, though I'm not sure if it'll be immediately or later. Now I'll note at this point, I'm sort of like thinking about my defenses. I'll note that there's like some iron right there, and like the south there. And then this cold snap happens. So I guess we'll talk about that. So the cold snap happens. Cold snaps are essentially where the temperature drops outside, and if you're trying to plant crops, you won't be able to plant the crops. And essentially, I had this like set up to be like corn and all that down here in this field down here, but there's gonna be no point to basically grow anything because there's not gonna be the temperatures to do it. So that basically is put on hold for a moment. Anyhow, we're slowly going around here and watching the temperature drop. That'll last for about a week. We'll basically be unable to grow food for a week, but it's fine. I basically start playing with corn soon after, and then we'll basically make up for the lack of like time not spent growing anything. Hailshem's there researching. He's going to do a lot of like important research. We're about to complete important research right now. It'll be, I believe, electric smelting is what I'll be doing with him. Completing right away. And Faulkner is busy cooking all the Muffalo meat up into like simple meals to eat, because those are important to eat. These chairs are still here. They'll eventually go away. And me and Vector are just healing up in the hospital because we're still injured. It doesn't take us too long to heal. I mean, we're both like a little bit injured, but we get over it quickly enough. Knight's busily making that wall. The trade caravan is leaving. Life is pretty good, for the most part. And it's electric smelting, so we're about 25 off from basically completing it, so it's not that long. I'm just basically watching it, slowly complete. At some point I think about hunting Muffalo, I think. There's electric smelting has been done. I then immediately go looking for electric cremation because, I have those dead bodies to worry about. We'll basically get that, and I'll basically start dealing with those bodies to the southeast of my base that have been there for a long time. Vector's slowly healing up. He's got a little bit more to do. He's only got like 6 damage to basically go through, so it shouldn't take too much resting for him to basically heal back up. I'm now helping Corsh Knight build the wall. That sounds so wrong, I know, but whatever. I deconstruct the animal sleeping spots because at this point, I don't have any animals in my base. I've sold them off to the trader from the trader that just left. No more animals in my base to worry about, which is great. Now I noticed those Muffalo over there have to be butchers, so I just start getting Eco to start doing that right away. I believe at this point I'm looking around for animals to basically hunt. Note, by the way, there's an Arctic fox there in the map. You didn't really get to see it, but there's an Arctic fox. It'll play an important role later on. And there's Eco bushing the other Muffalo, so you get all the meat from that. And yes, it's getting very, very cold because of the cold snap, so everyone's cold. And I decided at this point that Vector, he probably should be sleeping in his bed over here, so I decided, like, let's get Vector to sleep in this bed instead of a double bed in case, I have a marriage happen at some point. In hindsight, there's probably no reason to worry about the beds, but whatever. I did anyways. Vector's slowly trying to recruit flowers. I'm not sure if it's now that we recruit them or later, but eventually we recruit flowers in one of these videos that's going to happen, and there's like, 7% chance to recruit, but whatever. Eventually we recruit flowers, and then things get a little bit easier on the social side because she's got some good social skills going for her. I'm slowly going over here to help with building this wall. So that's getting done. Not a whole lot to say, basically. It's just, sort of waiting for everything to be done. Now, I do notice that there's that survival rifle in, like, the storage there, and I think to myself, I really should have someone equip that, so you'll probably see me eventually, like, say, have one of those guys, Faulkner, I think, start to do the, like, the equipping of the rifle. That might be right now. So yeah, there's Faulkner right there. She's going for a walk. I'm like, Faulkner, how about you go and equip the survival rifle? Because the survival rifle's like got longer range than a pistol, and it'll make her much more effective at hunting. So that's what we do. Now, in hindsight, I'm doing some, like, mine with plasteel. There's really no reason for me to be mining it, but I just feel like doing it just because I thought it might be nice to have more space up there, maybe to build like rooms or something. But in hindsight, I don't actually use this space for anything, so it's more or less just wasting my time just like getting the plasteel done. There's actually a lot of plasteel up there, which is great for future endeavors, but not so great for right now. And yeah, I'm starting to like get my guys to start hunting everything. So we hunt the Muffalo. We hunt some, like, small animals all over the place. I basically tell Faulkner here to basically stop cooking and start hunting, more or less. So that's why I'm basically having her cook go to 2 and her hunt stay at 1. So you basically see Faulkner start going over to hunt that Muffalo. And I watch her carefully because hunting like big animals like Muffalo or caribou or anything like that, anything that's like moderately powerful will actually sometimes like have revenge against you. So you want to basically watch out for that, and like, want to basically, make sure they don't kill your guys. But this Muffalo doesn't really prove much of a problem. We start shooting it a few times, and Faulkner eventually kills it. That Muffalo's certainly bleeding quite a bit, but there it goes, it dies. So that's another, meaty animal to basically make use of for foodstuffs. I then get Faulkner and start hauling that pemmican that's outside in the middle of nowhere because, it's sort of like rotting out there, so I want to get, inside as soon as possible. Karsh and I myself, we're slowly just mining away the rock over here, so it's going pretty well. Now, something I know about like compacted plasteel is that it takes like the longest to mine of like any type of like, rock you can mine. So we're slowly getting it out, but it takes a while nonetheless. And yeah, I'm noticing my foodstuffs here. I don't have a whole lot of meat. It's not exactly like, growing season because of the cold snap. But I'm like, whatever, we'll get to this eventually. I noticed that Vector's going out here to get stones to stone cut, so I actually, have my guys running out of side bases. That actually proves to be a bit of an issue later on, but not really. It doesn't, like, nothing I can really handle, luckily. I think at this point we're starting to decide, like, if I want have my guys going out here, I want to get like the stuff hunted. So I guess like I decide these things are near like where like Vector's going basically, and there's like the Arctic fox. I decided let's start hunting stuff basically down here. So I noticed all the boars down here, and they're like the first thing like I'm like, ooh, kill these things, kill them all, because wild bears are easy to kill and they provide good meat. So I see them all, I start hunting them. So here's Faulkner coming down to start hitting all the boars. I think she gets tired from attacking this boar, so she just goes back to bed, but we attacked this guy for a little while. And yeah, her shooting skill's going up whenever she's hunting things, right? Because she's firing her weapons, so she slowly starts to improve her shooting quite a bit. And Vector's slowly stone cutting still. And you'll note, by the way, if you look at him, he's got logs for weapons, Vector. So I really need to get him a better weapon than what he's got, but whatever. Eco's, the night owl, she's still like making simple meals, which is great. Gotta make those simple meals to eat. Almost done with the plasteel up there for the most part while I'm mining. I decided I'm going to finally start deconstructing the steel like room down here that I've had for a while. I decided that it's been there for a while. I'm not going to keep it there anymore because it's just whatever. So I have Corshine and myself come down here, and I'm going to start removing all that. I notice that the roof collapses there because it's a little bit too far away from the wall, but whatever. After I deconstruct the building, I basically decide I'm going to basically go in here and start deconstructing the floors, get those all that lovely steel from it. I basically send myself to do it. So blah 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 blah. And everything's deconstructed. And I basically go back to start digging at the plasteel with Cornish Knight. Now I decided basically that I want to start thinking about like building like a storage area over here. But then I get the bright idea that maybe I want to make like an orbital like trading area. You'll see that in a moment basically. But I'm basically thinking I want to build like a little bit away from like the geothermal vent to basically give myself room for like a walkway. And at the same time, I also want to basically try to like have like maximize room and all that. So you'll see me basically like I've got like a little bit of space here to build stuff if I like make it like one big room. This is what it would look like if I made one big room. And then I like build walls and all that stuff. But I get the right idea. There's the orbital trade beacon here. I might want to make one of these instead. And the nice thing about the orbital trade beacon is that you can use it like to trade with like passing ships out in like the solar system. So I quickly decide we're gonna start doing that instead. So we start eventually mowing down these like non-constructed walls, like cancel them all. And we start building that like orbital trade beacon idea instead. And it's deciding where to place it. Should I place it like down or up? Eventually I decided to place it up, above like in like the open area up here. And then I built like a room down below for like tailing stuff in the future. And I'm like trying to think, how am I supposed to build this over here? I got to leave room for walls, so bring it down one, bring it over one. And then we like, eventually I place it right there. So that's been placed. With that placed, I basically start building walls around it. And I decided I've got plenty of limestone right now. I've got 840 blocks of it. Now I just basically decide how am I supposed to build it so I get the maximum roof coverage. Something I know about the orbital trade beacons is that they've created big, huge stockpiles. But at the same time, the stockpiles are actually so big that that the orbital trade beacon is actually farther away from the walls that you can't like build like power conduits that basically connect to them. So you actually have to build like walls like into the thing basically to connect roofs and like have like power conduits. Basically like with power conduits and even roofs, there's like a 6 tile like width that basically you can like go with, and that's like how far away roofs and like power conduits can be before like the things that catch power and like roofs collapse and all that. So basically with orbital trade beacons, they basically make like an 8x8 type of range of stockpile. And basically, I'm basically showing this off right here. There's basically 8 walls in between, or 8 tiles in between the orbital trade beacon and my walls here. And I decide, instead of trying to think about making doors here, I'm going to just make a bunch of walls, and I'll build the doors afterwards. So I start building the limestone walls here. And I'll replace this with doors afterwards, but for now we're just going to build these. And electric cremation is made. So build crematoriums, which can be used to vaporize unwanted corpses. With that done, I basically start thinking about building one. But before that, we get into that. I basically decide I'm going to build some hydroponics, so I can basically build some foodstuffs in the future in the winter time. So we'll get that research out of the way. I decide I'm going to build an electric crematorium, out up here. I can't really decide if I'm going to build it inside something or outside something, but eventually I decide I'm going to just build it outside because it doesn't seem like it needs to need a roof. So let's build it up here near a grave site somewhere. Here, maybe there. Probably along here. And near the power con, so I have to build more power lines. So right there. Boom. Now I'm building it out of slate because I'm using a lot of granite and limestone for other stuff, and I haven't really been using slate recently, so I decided to start building stuff out of slate again. So I'm slowly over here with Cornish Knight building this wall. As I slowly get it done, it's time to start building more wall. And I also start building the orbital trade beacon too. So here's telling if you build the orbital trade beacon, you can use it to basically make a stockpile around it, so you can create a stockpile. There's a stockpile created. So as you can see, that's a pretty big stockpile. It's too far away from walls or power cons to basically be near enough to basically get powered or to have a roof above it. So we'll have to handle that. But for the most part, I start building building the walls around the stockpile, as you can see. And I basically start building doors. So I'm gonna build doors. Where am I gonna build doors? I build a door right there, or right there, I guess. Then I build a door up there. I build one right in the middle somewhere. Decided to build it right there. Build one on the other side. Build one up here. Build one down there. Then I built 4 more doors basically on the northern and southern walls, basically to let people come in that way. So we build I want to build near this door up here, but I'll build maybe right there. One off, but whatever, that's fine. And I do the same thing on the bottom. Now, with this done, basically, I'm going to have a walled area and all that. So I'm going to have to start thinking about how I'm going to build power cons in. So I start building those toward the walls at least. And I can build it in that far, basically get to the orbital comet. But I decide I'll do that in a moment. We're just going to figure out what we'll do after we build what we've currently got. So yeah, I build up to this door over here, over there. And I start building the roof area basically. And there we go. A roof area. And down here where I don't really need a roof, I decide, well, let's take away that roof area for now. At least most of it. Alright, let's get to it and start building up this wall. Or this room, rather. Yeah, I'm thinking I could build a wall or something in here to try and get closer. I'm basically showing off I have to build so far just basically get close enough to get to it. Now I decided I'm going to build some supports in this room so I can basically provide more roof cover in this room. That's what I'm doing right here. I built basically 4 inner pillars. I could have actually built those a little bit farther in, but I decided to build them just outside the stockpile's exterior. And then I start chopping out the wood, because wood. Let's chop it all off. So you see Valenia coming in here, she starts chopping wood. Hailstorm starts to chop wood. I start chopping wood. Cornerstone comes in to chop wood. We're all chopping wood. So all this is getting chopped away. And we'll start building the wall. Or the rooms like, outer walling and stuff. Now, I also think here that I may want to make like a secondary type of building over here. And this is like a very small building that'll just basically used for like, a communication center. And I'm thinking, where am I going to build it? I decided I was going to make a room like, thus you can see. And that'll be basically where I'm going to house my comms console, which is like a special structure for communicating with like other factions. And I'm trying to decide where I'm going to build the doors. Maybe I'll build like a door here. No, I'll build it right here. And I'll build it right there. And then decide I'll go into my miscellaneous here, press on comms console, and then we'll build this up. So that basically allows me to, essentially call for trade caravans and like, contact passing ships. But build a little bit more housing, like, roofing over here a little bit. And I think at this point I decide that geothermal vent, I want to make sure that it never gets covered, so I'll build like a expand no roof area on top of it, much like I do with the solar panels. And that's just basically to keep it from like, having problems, basically. Alright, so I get back to, doing stuff. I'm basically building up stuff down here. And if you haven't noticed already, it's basically starting to get very cold. But the cold snap is over. So that cold's out of the way, and then we're going to start, like, start planting soon, more or less. And then a mad animal happens. The local caribous decide to go mad. Yeah, there's caribou up here. I was wondering, where did these guys come from? Boy, one of them decided to attack Valenia again, because, they love Vladina for some reason. And I think to myself, better get Vladina to maybe go hunt the bastard. Because she's got the sniper rifle. And something I know here, if you have a sniper rifle in a character, they're actually very capable of doing stuff. And here's where we get recruit Flowers finally. So, hi Flowers, welcome to the colony. She's nothing special toward like combat skills, but she's got good social and she's got good medicine, so she'll be useful. I get to equip a pistol, because, why not? I basically look her over and say, ooh, she's got good cooking, too. We're just, making her job priorities right here. I notice that she's got very good, like, talking, so she's basically going to be one of the, the talkers for, like, prisoners and such. And she actually starts to talk to, like, caravans and stuff for a simple reason that Vector's, like, frail and sick, so she basically becomes my primary talker, more or less, in this game. Valenia's coming up here. Now, this is where I basically have her start hunting his caribou, or attacking his caribou, rather, because it's attacking us. I get a good shot on the caribou immediately, but it for some reason reacts, so it's basically going to walk over here a little bit. Valenia gets basically 2 good shots on it, but she misses the 3rd. And I decided I'm going to chase this thing down, but it decides it's going to try and crush me, so I'm like, okay. So I'm going to basically get her to come out here. The caribou eventually turns around, and I'm like, okay, back she goes. Yeah, there it goes. It's like, okay, it's coming for me. Back we go. As you can see, it's taking 2 big gunshot wounds to his right leg and his body. Valenia takes another shot at it. And kills it immediately. So, boom, it's dead. I get her to start hauling the thing away. And it's back to, like, watching as things go by. And there we go. That's a corpse coming to the butcher shop. Now, note, by the way, that Flowers is taking that double bed because, Flowers was basically in that, like, that bed I just changed around. I changed her to, like, the single bed. Flowers immediately goes down to start cooking because, she's a cook. And I notice at this point, I've got only 2 cooking places for 3 cooks. So I have to build a couple more kitchens to basically do stuff. And I noticed at this point that Flowers and like Eco are all building like simple meals to like this stockpile I just made up here. The thing about this orbital stockpile is that I didn't change it like any of its like presettings, so it's basically taking in every type of loot it can. And because those guys are right next to it with like their cooking stuff, they're transferring all their food over here to the stockpile. And like, whoops, I don't want that. So I immediately like clear the priorities on this stuff, and it's like make it so it only accepts like wood and. Well, actually, I don't think I do any of that just right now. We're just basically gonna leave it empty, more or less. That's gonna be like for like artifacts and like art pieces and stuff later on. Now you're just basically taking our food up to like the proper place where it's gonna go. And she's back in bed with me, or she's mediating rather, because they like to mediate people, or they like to pray. Yeah, you see Vector praying up there. That reminds me of like the pastor in Firefly, just doing a praying job. All right, well, time goes on, and I know at this point that the outdoor temperature is starting to raise up a little bit, which means that we can now start planting in that field down there. Though I guess me and like well, I guess I'm gonna prioritize moving that stuff right now. But yeah, I can start planting stuff in the field down here. So I started thinking about that. And aside, I'm gonna basically get myself and like Ladina and whoever else basically do like the growing stuff. I basically have Hailstone stop researching basically and like everyone start growing. And we start planting corn. Here we go. Yep, time to start planting that corn. So while they're doing that, I start building the electric crematorium with Cornish Knight. So once I get that built, we can start basically cremating corpses. Because I've got all this cremation to do. Now this is a big project, because as you can see, it's got a lot of work to it, but Cornish Knight gets right to it. And me and Vladina and Hailstrom are all busy planting corn. So at times it's like, sort of passing by a little bit while you basically do stuff. I think at this point I decided to just like, what am I hunting? I basically watched what Faulkner is basically doing. I basically see I got two wild boars here to basically hunt. She's basically getting to it, so I'm like, oh, I'll keep going at it. I'll watch this Cornish Knight here is basically building a crematorium because, it's gonna be fun to burn the corpses. Burn them all! Yeah, there we go. We basically finished doing this. Boom. It's powered up. It's ready to basically do stuff. I make it so like it starts cremating corpses forever. And then basically when it gets a chance, it starts to see like people start dragging up corpses up to that to basically be cremated into like cinders and such. But I know I have to get someone who's got hauling for it, so I don't feel like dragging anyone to specifically do it right now because they're all busy like growing or constructing or other stuff. So I just leave that be. But I know that once I have someone available, I'm gonna have like them start creating or stuff like that. Now I know by at this point I'm building a stockpile up here because human corpses like if I'm finding them, I want to basically drag them up here. So I basically set up a human like corpse pile up here for use later. And I like check the other storages to make sure like there's no human like in any other place for it. course, as it's slowly building along this building up here, because, you know, he's the only one building that up for a moment, and I'm basically over here growing up stuff. This corn I'm planting right now is going to be very important because, like, it's going to basically be my food stuff for the winter. The next winter I basically go through. There's Eco pushing our boar right there. Flowers is pushing a boar. I think at this point I noticed that, you know, I need to start building those kitchens, so I think we start getting someone to do it right now. Because, you know, I see like 3 people are cooking, but there's only 2 kitchens, so I need to start building up a couple more kitchens. And I build these along like the east wall here. So those would be like, you know, 2 more like kitchens for like, you know, cooking in. I basically get myself to start, you know, making it for like the steel here. Now, notably, that steel is like, you know, from like what it basically took down from that structure, so we're basically using it all up. Now I just need to grab some components. Now, notably, there's like 1 component in my stockpile, and the rest are like out in the middle of nowhere. So I decided at this point, I better, you know, make myself drag the, you know, the stuff that's over here in the middle of nowhere over to like the stockpile for future use. So I haul that instead of like, you know, just take it naturally as like a building component. And there we go. We're grabbing all that stuff. And I, you know, I grab the components to basically build the kitchen. There we go. I start building that stove. I basically set the bill, basically do stuff. Now, as you can see, I've got like 3 bills here for different stuff, and I have to basically like copy all those bills from those upper stoves to make the new stoves I'm basically building right now. There's no like copy function, so I have to basically do each one manually. Now, I also decided at this point, I think that I'm gonna make like, you know, if I have 5 meals, the 5 meals are gonna be like, you know, just cook indefinitely. But, you know, whatever. I basically do a lot of like, you know, I build the other stove, and then I basically start building up the, like, you know, the bills for stuff. So like do until you have, do until you have, do until you have. Basically, I'm copying everything over manually. So yep, you know, do this forever, do that forever. Clear all of this. Make sure it only accepts like, you know, meats that aren't human or insect. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm basically like, you know, going through and just making sure that, you know, everything is like what should be. Now, something else is I'm not trying to get like agave fruit or berries being like, you know, used for any like meals. Agave fruit and berries can be eaten alone, so if it's like set up to take those things, I'm like, nope, don't take those things. We'll leave that to like, you know, my colonists basically eat when they want to. I also decided that with the animal products like insect jelly and milk are probably something else I want to basically leave alone. So like, you know, I decide we'll leave those also to go up to like, you know, beaten by colonists just as alone. I also decided that eggs that are fertilized shouldn't be used for cooking because, you know, those could be used to basically make stuff. Usually, you know, new animals to basically breed. And yeah, I decided I'm not going to use rotten food. I don't think that's a really big issue, but whatever. I just do anyways. So yep, it's just a whole lot of manual change everything over, make it all as I want to be. I realize this might be extremely boring to watch, but this is a big part of the game, manually going through every single build for each individual production thing. If I do another series for RimWorld, I'll probably skip doing this again, but whatever. All right, so that's more or less done. I'll let Eco basically start making the meals. Let her get to it. I get back to playing corn in the following day, more or less. Though that's more or less going to be in the next episode. We're basically coming up to the end of this one. Eco's hauling a little bit of food. Everyone's waking up a little bit here. Things are looking up in pretty good shape for the most part.